Hey everybody, Shay here. It's been a long time since I've done one of these vloggy videos on this channel. Just been doing some stuff behind the scenes, of course. But in terms of book hauls, I've had some trouble finding books in the thrift shops. That's usually where I go for book hauls nowadays. That's really the only place I want to go because I get to find some of the older stuff, and it's kind of a mystery. And it's a bit of an adventure every time I get to pass by a bookshop and I try to find books that complete my list. So the update on the thrift book hunt front, Jesus, the words were in my brain, but I didn't know how to say them, is that after December, after Christmas, I just feel like the shelves kind of got, emptied out, gifts, presents, and all that stuff, right? That kind of thing happens. But like the new year comes around, January, I'm going to some of these thrift shops and I cannot find anything. Nothing. And generally the rule is like, I got to find 5 because I got to min-max, And then if I see only 1 to 3, I'm like, I'll risk it. I'll leave them behind, right? I know it's a risk, but they were never books that I really, really wanted. Otherwise, I would find another 3 or 4 books. But I went to different thrift shops. I went to 3 different ones, and I could never find a stack of 5 until I think somewhere in March or so I found 5. Good. So not enough for a video, you know what I mean? But I found 5. And then in April I found 5, and I was like, okay, 10, we can do 10. And then yesterday I went and I found 10. So we're gonna do a 20 book thrift book haul thing, and because I've been meaning to do a book haul video with the 10 thrift books from the first 4 months of the year, really the last 2 months, not counting this one, but it's I've had them on a stack on the floor, and I know what the top book is, but I literally don't remember the rest of the books. So it's going to be a bit of a mystery as I go through the pile with all of you, and I'll try to remember why I picked them up. I'll know why I picked them up, but we'll have a little bit of a vlog exchange here because it's been a long time, and I felt like doing something, just warming myself back up, because I found 10 other books, and so yeah, woohoo! Okay, so let's go. So first one is we got Assassin's Creed Unity. Now I've been collecting the Assassin's Creed books along the way. I found 2 of them so far at the thrift shops. I've found another one. I think I found Black Flag ones, but it was really bad condition. Anyways, I like to get them when they're relatively decent condition. There's a perfect spine. I like to talk about that along the way, of course, just because that's what makes the thrift haul so damn fun, is when you find a book that's almost in mint condition. So we got Unity. So based on one of the games, I think this is a nice game I need to play, actually, so I'm clearly not going to read this book before I play the game. But there you go, $3.99. I cannot find the cover price on this book. Generally it's in the code at the bottom, but $18.99 seems like a lot of money for a mass market paperback. Nope. Usually it's like in this number down here. Am I wrong? Focus. That's focus enough. Usually it's the number right there. See the $18.99? Usually that's the American price, no? Anyways, that seems like an exorbitant amount of money for a paperback. That's why I'm going to thrift shops. In any case, Assassin's Creed Unity, I'm trying to remember which other ones I got, but by the time this one came out, that's the list of them so far, and I believe I got the Renaissance one. Anyways, and then in Revelations, maybe? Anyways, that's the first book on the thrift book pile. Let's see what the second one is. Now I'm going into mystery territory because it's around the corner here. I'm going to do a reach and pull it blind, and bam, we got Joe Hill. Oh, yeah, Joe Hill. We got heart-shaped box. So I've been on a hunt for Joe Hill books. I got The Fireman, I think, is the one I picked up at the thrift shop the tail end of the last year. This is a short story anthology. I'm pretty sure. Am I wrong? Hold on, let me read this. I think I'm completely wrong. I'm thinking of a different book, I think. Summary's aging death metal rock legend Judas Coyne is a collector of the macabre, a cookbook of cannibals. Oh, a used Hangman's Noose, a snuff film. But nothing he possesses is as unique or as dreadful as his latest purchase off the internet, a one-of-a-kind curiosity that arrives at his door in a black heart-shaped box, a musty dead man's suit still inhabited by the spirit of its late owner. And now everywhere Judas Coyne goes, the old man is there, watching, waiting, dangling a razor blade on a chain from his bony hand. Okay, not the book I thought it was, but I'm still happy. This came up a lot on BookTube, which is why it was on my radar. And then Joe Hill in general, I'm familiar with Joe Hill from comics. In particular, Lock and Key. I read the first trade of Lock and Key. I ended up buying the omnibus or whatever, but I still haven't finished the entire Lock and Key series. Author of 20th Century Ghosts and Horns. There we go. So second book of Joe Hill in my collection. I do have to put that list together and find out what else he's written so that when I'm in the thrift shops, I can hunt them down. And in terms of quality, we got a perfect spine. Some of the corners are a little bit frayed, but you know what? It's not that much. It's not that bad. Even the pages themselves are actually relatively decent. There's just a bit of a bend on some of the corners, the top one and the bottom, but other than that, the book is pretty sturdy. Hasn't been in the sun, etc., etc. Pretty good find, in my opinion. So, third book, bam, blind pull. Oh yeah, Ian Rankin. We got Doors Open. I have been collecting Ian Rankin, and I'm not quite sure where I'm at now. I generally always find at least one book from Ian Rankin, but I think I was at close to the 50% mark. I think there's 40 plus books by Ian Rankin. Rankin, it's getting harder and harder to find Ian Rankin books. Doors Open is one of the earlier of them in the set. I've got a whole spreadsheet with the entire list that I have to keep pulling up when I'm in the thrift shop. But in any case, this is a cover price, $24.95 Canadian. I don't see an American price on this at all, so it looks like it's a Canadian print edition. I assume it's somewhere around the $30 mark in American, something like that, maybe 32. Anyways, for $5, so can't go wrong. Another one in the set, and in terms of quality, I mean the pages are a little bit yellow, sure. The corners just a little bit frayed, but the spine is perfect. No creases in the spine. So cover price of $24.95 Canadian. There's no American price on this, so it looks like it's a Canadian print, but I imagine it's somewhere around that, I don't know, $18.99, $19.99 price point for the American side. In any case, pretty good. Another Ian Rankin book off the list. The next book, pull it up. Yeah, Jim Butcher. So I've been working on the Dresden Files as well. I've got a list of all of Jim Butcher's books. I've been hunting them down, but these are not as easy to come by, and sometimes I find them, but they're in a terrible condition. This one, on the other hand, pretty decent spine. The pages are actually pretty straight. There's just a couple little nicks here on the edges, but relatively good condition. So $3.99 I picked it up for. It's a $9.99 US and $12.50 Canadian. So $4, $3.99, right? So can't go wrong. It got me before of the Dresden File novels so far from the thrift shops, and yeah, man, there's I mean, no creases. It's like this book wasn't even read, to be honest. It feels like it's in perfect condition. I was kind of excited to pick up more Dresden Files. I don't think I have the first book in the series. I'm hoping to read these in sequential order, and I'm a patient man because I got a lot of books that I'm collecting along the way. So there you go. We got a Jim Butcher changes, and we'll see if I find more this year. I feel like I'm gonna find at least a few more this year. Next book, fourth book, fifth book of the last. Ooh, I didn't know. There you go, Full Moon. We got Full Moon, not Full Moon, Full Moon by Jim Butcher. I mean, relatively perfect condition. Just minor bends on that spine. All the edges are perfect. Like, it still feels pretty much unread. So another Jim Butcher book for the Dresden Files. Actually, I had my spreadsheet up. I could probably pull it up just so that. Yeah, let's do that. Let me pull up. I probably still have it up. I do have Stormfront, probably sometime end of last year. Probably one of the first books of the Dresden Files that I found in the Thrift Book Haul runs. Full Moon is the second book in the series, so never mind what I just said. Third one is Grave Peril, and the fourth one is Summer Night. And Changes is way down on the list. I got it as book 12, so there you go, coming together. 2 books in this haul. And really quickly going back to Doors Open. Doors Open is way down on my Ian Rankin books. On my list, I've got 4 that are standalone novels, and this is the 4th of the set. I'm missing 1. I'm only missing West Wind now. I got The Flood and I got Watchmen, which I would have picked up on one of the thrift hauls. So these 5 were from the early April thrift run. Now we're going to jump into the ones that I picked up in the early March or something like that. Very big mystery. So we have Ian Rankin, The Complaints. Now the Complaints on the list falls where? The Complaints is a Malcolm Fox book, not an Inspector Rebus book, so it's a whole different perspective, point of view, story, characters, etc. So the Complaints, and this is there's 2 books that I have listed for the Malcolm Fox books. I got the Complaints and the Impossible Dead. I've picked up the Impossible Dead, I suppose, at some point. Anyways, Ian Rankin. So we have this one is not in perfect condition, but again, these get harder and harder to find because I've got at least 20 of the books now, and so whenever I find one now, I just pick it up, and if I find a better condition one, maybe I'll pick that up and I'll give this one back to the thrift shop, you know what I mean? But this one's got some pretty decent frays around the edges. Like, it's not, you know, the corners are a little bit mangled. The spine, strangely enough, is perfect, but the pages themselves, they have some wear and tear on them. In any case, this is a $24.95 Canadian price. Again, Canadian print because I don't see the American price on here, but I'm assuming it's somewhere on the $19.99-ish, and I got it for $5.99. So there you go, pretty good find. To be honest, I think last night this one was there. I could have checked it because I just made the comment. Okay, maybe I'll put a little note on my spreadsheet that lets me know like which ones are in like a condition score. You know, that's a pretty good idea. Next book. Let's just move on. All right. Oh, I didn't even remember. So, I remember why I picked this up. We got the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. I was on a call at work, and my boss had brought up something about this. Like, he just mentioned something about the 7 something. He didn't really like, he heard about it in a podcast or something like that. And then and this was the day before. And so when I was at the thrift shop and I saw this book, I was like, that's what he was talking about. So I figured I'd pick it up. Generally don't buy these kinds of books, but I am familiar with like Blink, The Tipping Point, right? Malcolm Gladwell. Is that his name? I hope. I'm not messing that up. In any case, and I figured, you know what, why not? If this can help me think about things from a different perspective, then I'll just give it a go, you know? Like, if you're curious, here's the table of contents. So private victory, public victory, renewal, don't know what any of this means, but I'm willing to check it out. These are the kind of reads where, you know, just chip away a chapter at a time, and you hope to take something away. I don't know, just randomly flip to a page there with a graph on it. So it looks like these things are correlated to each other, etc., etc. So I totally forgot I picked this book up, but I figure if I learned something, that's good enough for me. The spine, perfect condition. Book itself has just a little bit of wear and tear, but it's not that bad. Again, the pages themselves, they're not wrinkled, they're not wavy, they're not no water damage. That's usually what happens with these books. Are like read anywhere is how I think about the history of the book when I pick it up. Sometimes I'm like, how some of them are in so bad condition. I'm like, how did this happen? Stephen King the books are notorious for the worst condition used books I have ever seen are Stephen King books. What is wrong with you people? We got a cover price. We got a cover price of, that's really small print, 22 Canadian, $17 American. I got it for $6. So that's not bad. Second book. Did I pick up another Malcolm Gladwell? Another, yep. Yep. So we got a Malcolm Gladwell Outliers, because I have Blink and I have Tipping Point, and I think I've heard of Outliers. I think. Do you or not? Anyways, I just feel like it sounds familiar to me, and it was in decent condition. You know, like the fraying around the edges isn't really there. The pages are relatively straight still, and no really wavy stuff. But the spine has got a little bit of that bow. It's basically when books are in shelves, like, and they're like this. They're like this, but they're not properly flat, and so this ends up happening. I don't know what video I saw that in. I saw a tip on how to care for your books. So it's how you put them on the shelf and how they get compressed between two books. This will happen to the spine, so just be careful. That's not really a reading kind of, like, I mean, it could happen from this as well, right? But it obviously almost certainly does. That impacts it, you know. But mostly it's when it does that curve, but when it does this diagonal, that right there. This diagonal is from the shelf. The bow is from reading, right? I don't know why I'm giving them. Why am I talking about this? Anyways, so I got this for $6. The cover price was $22.49. So it looks like most of these that I've been picking up in Canadian, by the way, and in American, $17 or so. So there you go. And considering I have like a 20% off coupon and I get one of these books for free, we're talking at like 75% off. Like, these books, when they're in like relatively decent condition, like, the savings are significant. You know, they're in that 75% to 80% mark. It's really good. So, fourth book in the set. Oh yeah, look at that. I still got the receipt in here. How convenient. Look at this. Bam. We got Ghost Stories, but look at this chunky beast. It's nice, man. And it's got this matte kind of finished cover, and I don't know, it feels good, and the spine is actually pretty decent. Now, it does have some tape or something like that. Like, it's not really maybe it was beginning to flare, I'm not sure, but they put some tape up there. I'm not sure what the heck's going on there. We got some fraying along the edges. Right there's a bit of a tear, but I mean, it feels like it adds like some texture because it's like a pulpy book, you know. And anyways, I didn't mind it because it's this anthology book. I mean, check this out. Even on the, I don't know why this is not important, but I mean, it is to me. It's got this dual column spread for the stories, and why this is cool for me is because I tend to read a lot of these like pulp short story horror fiction stuff in pulp comics. I go look for them. I get public domain pulp horror comics, and then in them there'll be these 2-page stories, and they're designed in 2 columns. And so I just feel like, I don't know if that was intentional. They did that because that's just kind of where it came from. Came from. Man, I can't speak. Pulpy kind of art in here as well. So anyways, exciting. Hey, it's a ghost book. Can't go wrong. Oh, they have other ones. They have like a zombie, and they have a vampire one. That's a pretty classical pose for the vampire. Did you literally, yeah, you put a whole sticker on here, huh? So it looks like it was from a used bookstore. In any case, I can't see the price because they put an entire like that big of a sticker on it. Thanks, man. So I'm gonna mess up my vintage book. We got Joyce Carol Oates, we got Rudyard Kipling, we got Isaac Asimov and James McCree, we got Saki, Oscar Wilde, HRF Keating, Willa Cather, and many more. Pulp horror fun. I imagine this book was probably a pretty good chunk of coin, but alas, I cannot tell you the original cover price for this, but I got it for $5.99. Can't go wrong. Look at the chunkiness. Pretty good quality, except for that goddamn sticker at the back with the pricing. Last book of this set. Ooh, look at that. It's an Ian Rankin book, Set in Darkness. So that was a pretty good decent haul, all considering, because I was finding literally nothing for about 3 months, and then I mean this stack came up. It was like the end of March and beginning of April, something like that. My memory's gone. They've been on that floor for all of winter. This is what I remember. Anyways, the spine here is a bit of bowing going on. Definitely some cracking along the way, a little bit like aged, if you will. But it's a sturdy book. It's got one of those like harder covers, like more like heavy stock covers. But the edges of the books are okay, except for that top corner is a little bit of a flare, very minor. You can't even see it in the camera. But there you go. So it looks like there's a price tag there of $21.95. That's very likely Canadian. Got it for $6 as well. But man, I mean, the pages are pretty solid. I mean, they're a little bit of yellowing, not that much. Ian Rankin, Set in Darkness. Would have put these in order if I knew. Like, I don't know why these were out of order on my floor. Set in Darkness. It is book 11, so it's not that bad. I actually have a near complete run for the first 24 books. I am missing book 10 in the series called Dead Souls. I've almost got a pretty complete run for the first 24 books. That's insane. I'd have to do a recount here. Let me do a recount real quick. 21 and 25 is 46. So there are 46 books. I'm missing 19 books of 46. So there you go. That is the stack from March, I suppose. That's the first stack upon coming back to thrift book hunting after a dry spell, a massive dry spell, of course. So that's 10 books out of the way. Now we got the new stack of 10 from yesterday. Crazy stuff. Let's go get them. I'm just going to bring the whole stack over this time, and we're going to get into it. I ended up folding. I wasn't going to get the mass market paperback for Ian Rankin, but at this point, they're getting more difficult to find in paperback format, the larger ones, you know, and the hardback, I can barely ever find a hardback. I might have found 5 in my entire run of Ian Rankin, but at this point, I've been going with the soft one, the paperbacks, you know, and I kind of want to keep that set going. Sometimes I'll get the paperback one, but they're not the full size of the set. Like there's a certain size. There's this size is usually what you get, but I have found some paperback versions that aren't exactly the mass market paperback size. They're a little bit taller. They're like in the middle of this, and I got one of those in the collection as well. Yeah, one of them is like the smaller version of the paperback, and I tend to find those ones on the shelf, but I already have copies in the larger format. But those ones pop up. Sometimes these would pop up, but I would say even very rarely do I find a mass market paperback of an Ian Rankin. But yesterday in particular, I found quite a few. And so I was like, okay, look, my list needs to start getting called a little bit faster. So I ended up picking them up. And again, I'll replace them if I find a larger copy. While I was in the thrift shop, I did a really quick check on Amazon to see what other formats were available for some of these paperbacks. And in some cases, there were no paperback versions. And in other cases, they're so out of print that some of these were going for like $70 Canadian. So $4. I got it for $4. This is like the $10. It's a UK edition because there's no American price or Canadian price. It's £8. I think it's double for Canada. That'd be crazy because it's a pretty thin book. But $16 for a book like this in Canada, I wouldn't pay it. I wouldn't pay it. That's why you go to thrift shops, baby. Anyway, so the spine is a little bit creased, right? You can see that warpage that I was talking about, the shelf warpage, and the bend, the reading bend, right, going on. But other than that, the pages are in relatively good condition. The cover is okay. There's only a little bit of a fray in the corner there, the little top corner. Who cares, right? But for $4, you can't go wrong. Might as well update my list now. So this one is book 1 of the Inspector Rebus short stories and novellas. I only got one other one of these. I got The Beat Goes On. So this is the second book of the short story compilations that I picked up from Ian Rankin. I'm just going to green that one up. Bam, locked in. And then another mass market paperback I got was Beggar's Banquet. Of course, Ian Rankin. We're on the Ian Rankin run right now. A similar problem. This is why I don't pick up the mass market paperbacks. This happens almost always. We got some frayed corners all over the place. The cover itself is okay. There's no real damage on the cover. A little bit on that point, the corner point. Back cover there, as you can see, the corner there is pretty mangled. It's pretty mangled, but you know what? It's getting really hard to find some of these books, like I said. So I figured I'd just go for it. This is also only a UK price here as well. We got an £6.99, so probably a $12-13 book Canadian. I got it for $3.99. Hey, a lot. I mean, the pages are super yellowed. This was definitely sitting on a shelf with a lot of sun. But where does this one fall? In the tail end or something like that? Yeah, it's one of it's the last book. So it's a short story collection. I actually don't know why I have it way at the bottom. It's a 2002 book. I'm not sure why it's not. Oh, because it's not an Inspector Rebus. It's like a standalone, not Inspector Rebus short story collection by Ian Rankin. And it's the only one in the set. And bam, I got it. Update my chart. That takes us to the third Ian Rankin book. We got, this one's actually in really good condition. We got Let It Bleed. And the spine, a little bit bowing. That's pretty nasty. I only saw this damage when I stacked them in the car. I was like, oh, that's pretty nasty. Maybe I can sandpaper off that. It looks like a coffee stain. Oh, and that's definitely a coffee stain, and it's definitely warping the pages on the inside. There's definitely water damage. Like, that's pretty bad, right? Or I don't know how I'm gonna really fix this. I mean, I cleaned it up pretty fast because, I mean, it sort of stops, but it's got a bit of character. Rebus drinks coffee, whiskey, you know, smokes a lot. Anyways, I felt like it was in really good condition. How was I holding this? I was in that shop for over 2 hours. Scanning those shelves. I know. I overdo it. But listen, I had to go call them by. I was determined to find 10 books, and goddamn it, I did. But how did I not notice the edges of this book while holding the book for 2 hours? I don't know. Anyways, Let It Bleed. This was book 7, and I got booked 1 to 6, and I was like, it's book 7. Like, I need book 7 now, because if I want to do a marathon of Inspector Rebus books, I'll be able to do it in continuity, right? And so I'm just gonna update my chart here, but I should probably go through all my books and put the grading system behind it. But like I said, I was doing some Amazon searches for what other formats of these books existed out there, and this might have been one of them that I'd have to double check. But some of these, like I said, were like in the used book $70 range. That's never going to happen. So we do have a UK price and Canadian price here. So UK is $6, Canadian is 11, so it's about double, like I thought. But I got it for $3.99, and there you go. So that's the third book of Rankin. I ended up getting a fourth book of Ian Rankin. We got Black and Blue, another book that it was important to get now because it is book 8. So now I got a run of book 1 to book 9 steady. I got a break here, and Dead Souls is the one I'm looking for. It's book 10, and then I got a run from 11 to 24. I've already spoiled something because I got another one coming up. So that's a pretty good run. It's almost like half of the run is going to be unbroken very, very shortly. Anyways, Black and Blue, another Warpage, of course, from the shelf. This is probably from the same owner. At this point, I'm starting to feel a symbolic connection to all these books. But otherwise, yeah, there's some wear and tear damage. I wouldn't put this in, like, I'd probably put this at a 6 out of 10. I should be rating. That's a much easier way to explain the damage that's on the books because I can't really show it sometimes. I get the glare on it, but like, anyways, this cover's creased right on the corner here. God damn it, you can't really see it. But yeah, I would say 6 out of 10 condition. I'm sure there's a different way to grade it. The pages are a little bit yellowed, and the warpage, of course, right now. Maybe this is not a 6. Maybe it's a 4 or 5 for some. I'm going to be a little lenient. These are used books. These are older books, you know, and so you could probably fix some of the spine stuff by just, like, I don't know, trying to balance it out with some other compression. This is book, what am I, Black and Blue. This is, yeah, book 8, like I said. Right, so updated my sheet at this point. So Black and Blue, can't go wrong. It's a pretty, you know, thick book, all told. Probably 300 something pages, maybe 400, 500 pages, more or less. So pretty chunky book. But hey, that was 4 Ian Rankin books in one go. I just had to accept the fact that I was buying mass market paperback. It's okay. I'm going to fill the gaps. Now, I'm pretty sure I got another Rankin one. I do. So let's just talk about this one first. So 5th book, we got Ian Rankin. We got Resurrection Man. This is in the paperback edition, the nice chunky ones, the big ones. The spine is relatively decent. Pages are a little bit yellowed, but otherwise the cover is in perfect condition. This is like a 7... I would say a 7. I mean, there's that age mark, the age wrinkling on the spine there, but it's not that bad, man. So I would say 7 to 8, in my opinion, maybe 7. There you go. Condition. That's a much easier way to grade. I wish I would have started that earlier. And in terms of pricing, I got a $24.95 here. I got it for $5.99. Man, like I said, you can't go wrong with these prices at these thrift shops. Resurrection Man is book 13 of the runs. And so now I just need Dead Souls, and I will have an unbroken run from 1 to 24. That's crazy. There's 25 books in the Inspector Rebus book, so I'm literally missing 2. I'm missing book 10 and I'm missing book 25. That's a crazy run. I started collecting these when I start thrift shopping again with this channel. Maybe August is when I went back and I was like, God damn, why wasn't I doing this earlier? And I just kind of fell out of the whole thing. Like, and when I said early, I mean like 20 years. I hadn't gone back to these thrift shops since I was like in my early 20s. So I just aged myself. And so there you go. Resurrection Man. That is the first 5 of the stack. We're going to go into the next 5, which is the ones where I struggled to get. Because there were like some books where I was like, I wanted... Like there was, what's the one called? Hold on. It's on my list, so I'll know. Like there was the first King of Shannara, for example, I found. But it was in mass market paperback. and I was like, I know I've seen this hardcover. It's just it was in bad condition, but I know it exists in the format of the collection that I've been picking up, and so now I want the hardcover. You know what I mean? I don't want a paper. I don't want a mass market. So there was a bunch of mass market paperbacks for all. I mean, and then a person's entire collection I think was there. Voyage series was in there. The Heritage series was in there. I don't think the Sword, the first trilogy, I don't think was in there. The High Druid series was in there, and stuff beyond the High Druid series, which I don't even have on my list. I just figured I wasn't going to collect them. But there was the Armageddon Child, I think was one of them. It's not on my list, but I had a hardcover in my hand. And I was like, I wanted it because I was like, I know I don't have those on my list, but I wanted it. But it was like part of 3 that I was like, does an omnibus exist for this? And I think it does. And so I was like, I left it behind. It was a library edition book, so it had like the sticker, you know, on the spine. I was like, I could probably find this somewhere else at some other point. I'm deviating, but that was a book that I eventually had to put back, which meant I needed another 10th book. It got messy. Anyways, let's get into the 6th book I found. I did find Summer Nights, so another Jim Butcher book of the Dresden Files. There it is. So we got book four of the run. So I got 1, 2, and 4. I'm missing 3. Not that bad for an unbroken set that I can kind of start on. In terms of quality, it's okay. There's that warpage. Of course, that happens from the shelf. The spine itself is not cracked. It's probably, but there's some fraying on the top edge there. So I don't know. That puts it in the 6 to 7 range. There's some fraying on the bottom here as well. But it's okay. It looks like a read once kind of book, you know? That's not that bad. So we got a Canadian price is about $11. I got it for $4 and $3.99. $10.99. I'm just gonna start rounding up those silly numbers, man. Sometimes found these in hardcover. I found like the White Knight, but I own the White Knight. I got that in some other run. Anyways, I was on my list. I already had it, but I found it in hardcover, and I was like, oh, if I start waiting for them in hardcover, it could take me a longer time, right? So, Jim Butcher, Summer Night. Another one off the list. On Thursday, I went to the bar, and it was right by this place. But I only had like 5 minutes to run in, check things, and run out. That's why I wanted to go back yesterday, because 2 days ago, I found this book, plus I found a trilogy for Dragonlance. It was book 1, 2, and 3 of Icewall. And I was like, man, I don't have time to buy it, because I found 4 books. I found those 3, plus this one, a Wild Cards book. These are rare. I mean, I would have bought this one, Inside Straight is the last hardcover I got. Oh, you can't see it. It's on the bottom shelf. Anyways, I got the full run of Wild Cards. It was one of my favorite series as a teenager. That was 30 years ago. But I never read the entire series. I ended up having book 1, 2, and 5. And then I ended up eBaying book 1 to, what was it? Book 1 to 17 or 18. I paid like over $200. Like it was a lot of money. It was a lot of money. But it was like 10. I forget what it came to each book. But I needed the whole series. I wanted it. I really enjoyed it. This is how I know George R.R. Martin. I didn't know him from Game of Thrones until it was on HBO and all. I mean, I knew he wrote it, but I didn't really follow it. I didn't really care because Wild Cards was what I knew from the 90s and into the early 2000s. And so I've been wanting to get back into the series. I am going to be reading those books, absolutely. It's basically anthologies, short story compilations by a bunch of his buds, his sci-fi buds along the way. Is the history of this in the 80s. It was a role-playing game they used to play, a superhero role-playing game they used to play together. And then they just started the series, and he ended up doing the editing on the series, and these compilations are the result. I had no idea they went past this book. I knew this one when I bought the Inside Straight, which was book 19. I should just look this up. I actually thought the series was going to end because the whole Game of Thrones picked up, and I'm like, oh, the guy's probably too busy. There's no way he's still doing anthologies for Wild Cards. It's because few people know of the Wild Cards series. It's shocking to me because for me, I still remember stories I read 30 years ago in the first and second book, you know. And so it's always shocking to me, like, people have never even heard of this. And so to find this book, and it is in perfect condition. When I say perfect, I mean this is a 10, okay, 9.5 out of 10 book. There's a little bit of a tear here in the corner, but it's a perfect book, man. And there's like an ink blop right there, whatever the hell that was for. But this book isn't this. I doubt this book was read. It's a perfect book. It's a perfect book. So I saw this and I had to go in. Like I said, I kind of derailed on all those stories. Oh, the book number. So Inside Straight was book 18, which was the last one I bought off of Amazon. I just bought full price, and that's where it stopped. And because my list is not updated, I have no idea what number of book this is. I thought it was book 19, but book 19 is Busted Flush. This is not Busted Flush. This is High Stakes. So I don't know where this falls. Does it say it on the back? Probably not. Does it say it on the inside sleeve? Probably not. This is a $39 book. Crazy. American is $28. I got it for $5.99. Hell yeah. Let me look it up real quick. We are on High Stakes. Wow, so the last book I bought? Damn. Inside Straight was, there's no way, 2008. Oh, so Bantam Books published these from 87 to 93. That's why I was only aware of this stack. I see. Oh. So Bantam Books published 12 of these in the series. Then it went to Bain Books from 93 to 95. They did Card Sharks, Marked Cards, Black Trump. That's why the spines changed. I was wondering why they changed the design. They look at the iBooks Inc. I don't know. That sounds like it's digital installments. I'm not sure. It says iBooks 2002 to 2006. And then we got Tor Books. That starts with Inside Straight. So the first hardcover is from Tor Books. That makes sense, right? Yeah, it's Tor. I got it. Okay, good. Well, I'm glad I looked this up. And then High Stakes is the... So, goddamn. Inside Straight was 2008, and then this one was 2016, so 8 years later. In between them, there's Busted Flush, 2008, Suicide Kings, 2009. That's the one I thought I stopped at. I stopped buying them at, and I thought they stopped. That was crazy. I don't know why I didn't look this list up earlier. 2014, Lowball, 2016, High Stake. Crazy, there's way more books than I thought. In any case, this is the Tor book set is these hardcovers that started in 2008, and they published more of these until 2022. This is their 6th book in the lineup, and so there you go. Suicide Freaks was one that I thought was on Amazon. I couldn't get, or it was always out of print or something like that, so I just stopped. I just stopped looking for these. I didn't think they were printing anymore. Man, I feel like I'm super behind, man. Oh, jeez. Bantam Books now has it from 2023 to present. Wow, I've got a lot of hunting to do. I'll probably buy these ones new, but that's only if I actually catch up to the reading. But I was really excited to see High Stakes. That got me back into the shop. It got me hopeful again, and I ended up like hunting down 10 books. So I'm gonna move on. A lot of talking about wild cards. That could be a whole episode of just talking about wild card stuff along the way. So the last 3 books were a struggle. It probably took me an hour alone just to figure out which ones to pull. I had my eyes on a couple of, because there's always like a default mode I go into. I go into the antique section, or the older, the vintage kind of set, or I go into the horror section, which I don't generally buy standalone horror or Stephen King. I don't really buy, because they're terrible condition books to start. But then it's just it's a lot of them. It's a lot of them, and I Dark Tower is the ones I'm looking for, but other than that, no, I'm good. I don't want to get into another rabbit hole. But in the antique section, I found this book right here. It's called The Woman in White. Now, I'm familiar with the ghost stories of the Woman in White. So I did a quick Google search on the book, like it does, because I flipped the page open and I saw that right there, the preface right there. So preface of the 1860 edition and then the 1861 edition. So I was like, oh, so it's like an old story. Like this might have been one of the first Woman in White stories, ghost stories out there. So that piqued my interest for sure. And the way that it seems to be written is that there's like a bunch of like story continued by. I don't know what that meant, but I was like, I think from a writing perspective, it feels like it could be just interesting, like an interesting writing style that I like to kind of explore and get into. So Woman in Night, the book is a 10 out of 10. This is actually a perfect quality book. The pages are completely straight. This was never read. This came off a shelf and it just got given away. Like there's no blemishes, there's no tears, there's nothing. This is a brand new book. This is pretty much a mint book. And I was like, for that alone, man, for $5, I'm just gonna get the book, you know. And the cover price, otherwise, I can't see it. But if I look at the numbers down here, does this tell me anything? Not really. Does the front cover tell me anything? Not really. How do you pay for a book where there's no price on it, man? Price is on the barcode, I guess. I don't know. It's not on the barcode, though, because it's from UK. I don't know how UK does this. Anyways, there's no price. It's free, I guess. They were giving this shit away. The barcode's not even clear to me. I don't see anything that looks like a number there. Anyways, I don't know. Probably a $20 book. Can't go wrong. Woman in White. Looks like some fun gothic horror kind of read. And on that vein, I ended up finding this Victoria Ghost Stories, also by Arcturus Press. It looks like an indie press in London, I suppose. And their books are in good quality. They got that soft touch feeling to their covers, or it's kind of a matte soft touch. It's kind of somewhere in the middle. For $6, perfect condition. It's another 10 out of 10 quality book. There's nothing. There's no wrinkles on it. The pages are white. They're all stiff still. And it's a short story collection set in the Victoria era, and based on the table of contents, it looks like a bunch of old-timey authors and their short stories. So I will always buy an anthology set, especially set in the gothic horror vein. I love them. So I don't regret a thing. And then the final one is one that I actually started listening to on audiobook, and I got, I don't know, a couple minutes in, and then I never finished it off. And this is such a good quality book, man. It was in the vintage section. I got it for $5, and I have no idea what the price would be otherwise, but this is in perfect condition. It's literally a 10 out of 10 book. It's got this really nice cover. Like, look at this. Look at the binding on this. It's got like this beveled. Is that what it's called? I don't know the term, but it's the punch thing. It's got this like beveled, like punch sting. I don't know what the thing is called. Man, it's got this like cardboardy feeling, but it's got that impression on it. I can't really get the light to show it, but like this is beveled, you know, it's got little like textures and stuff like that. Like Dorian Gray, man. Nice cover. It's even got a ribbon. God damn it. It's even got a ribbon. It's a pretty short book. I was talking to someone at work and she recommended reading this Dorian Gray. That's what she was reading. She's like, yeah, it's kind of cool, because I talked to her about how much I like Gothic horror, right? Victorian horror, like older stories, more psychological stuff, not like the modern horror stuff, right? That's the design on the inside, and the book opens so nice, and it feels so good in the hands. It's got like the binding is just nice, man. It's it's clean book. I don't know how this was in the vintage section, but it's paper mill press, very very good quality covers on these books. Dorian Gray, the picture of Dorian Gray. So it looks like I'm finally gonna get. Oh my God! If I ruined the book, I would have been this the last book. If I would have ruined the book, I would have been so disappointed at myself. Dorian Gray, pictures of Dorian Gray. Familiar with the story because I've read other books that were influenced by it, or I used to run a Gothic horror tabletop game for like 7 years called Ravenloft. If you're looking at old-timey 90s, Gothic horror setting, it was called Ravenloft, and a lot of the domains they called it, so these lands inside that tabletop setting, they were based on basically a Gothic horror story from the old days. So one based on Frankenstein, one based on Dracula, one based on Dorian Gray, one based on Vlad the Impaler, which was different than Dracula because of the history of Vlad, one based on the werewolf, right, lore, stuff like that. So it was all, that's kind of how I got into the genre itself, and how I know so much about it is because I know the variants based on that old-timey stories. And so Dorian Gray was one of them that I knew of. One of the characters in there was kind of based on this. So I'm aware of the idea of this, and looking forward to reading the original because I've never read the original. So that is the stack. Holy smokes. That's 20 vintage books all around me. Like this. I can finally put them away, get them off my floor. And it looks like I'm going to be doing some more runs because I'm going to be going off on a road trip-ish kind of thing for a business thingamajig that's hours and hours away, and I'll be able to pass one or two of these shops up somewhere up in North Ontario, and so I'm going to be seeing if I can find any of these shops on the way down and pull in some more books, and maybe we'll do another thrift haul. This was a really long video to record. I'm at the 1 hour mark. I don't know what you all saw, probably a 30 to 40 minute mark on your end. There you go. That's the thrift haul run for the last 5 months. So that's a pretty decent summary. I'm looking forward to hitting some more of these shops over the next, I would say the next couple of weeks, 2 to 4 weeks. I'm definitely going to a few of them. I've already got them marked out because I gotta drive a lot in the next 4 weeks, here and there, over everywhere. And I'll be back around to give that update when I have something around the 5 to 10 book mark. Cool. I'll catch you there. Don't forget to explore, engage, and inspire. Ready? Peace.